Our conversation that we also going to be having moves to Cape Town, where a prominent criminal lawyer has reportedly survived an assassination attempt at his home. And our reporter Monique Motlog is there, of course, to give us some clarity and context as to what exactly happened. Monique, a very warm good morning to you. I mean, waking up to the news of an assassination attempt while we're going through, the coronavirus pandemic is quite shocking indeed. Give us some context, please.
Yes, definitely, and especially since this alleged hit happened not in the early morning hours, but at about 7:30 this morning. According to neighbours, they heard about 4 shots ringing out here in this area. I'm just going to step out of shot so you can see what's happening behind me. There is police tape currently stopping us from going any closer to the residence, but from where I'm standing I can see the lawyer in the distance, whose name we have chosen not to mention yet until we get confirmation from him that it is him, obviously practicing some responsible journalism over there. And but what we have heard from police officers is that 2 suspects wearing surgical masks approached his house and they fired shots at him, but they missed him. Apparently the shots hit the car that he was in or behind, and but he was unharmed. Neither his wife nor anyone else in the vicinity was hit. The suspects then fled the scene and police are currently looking for him. For those 2 suspects.
Monique, I don't know if I heard you correctly there. I think you talked about the suspects were wearing surgical masks.
Yes, wow. Yes, they were. Police have confirmed that they were wearing surgical masks when they were shooting. And as I mentioned to my colleagues earlier, as we were driving to the residence this morning, we were stopped in a roadblock and obviously asked whether we have our permits. Obviously, during these roadblocks, officers and officials are looking for whether people are driving, are essential workers or driving for essential purposes like going shopping or picking up medicine, which begs the question how these perpetrators were able to get as close as they did. But then again, this area, there are many smaller roads leading into these areas, so it is likely that in order to get here, the suspects knew where the roadblocks were and knew how to navigate around them to avoid being stopped.
So, I mean, there was just a clarity question, because it is crime in a time of COVID-19. Yep. Suspects wearing surgical masks, right. Something highly unusual. But this is a lawyer whose name we know, but we're not naming him at this point. But he's no stranger to representing particular categories of, suspects in the Cape Town area, right?
Yes, for sure. And he's no stranger to having received death threats either, because of his clientele and the cases that he's worked on over the years. His clientele has ranged from alleged criminals, gang lords, and also alleged molesters. And obviously, with a clientele or a clientele base like that, he's no stranger to making enemies, and he's no stranger, as I mentioned, to receiving death threats. But he was lucky to have escaped with his life today, as we heard from police and from neighbours that it was several shots that were fired at him, but all of them missed him.
All right, well, Monique, thank you so much for the clarity. Our reporter Monique Motlog in Cape Town.